It's time for the Brainrot tier list, and first we have literally Brainrot. Despite the name, I will say that Brainrot is just a regular term. It isn't a Brainrot in itself. It is just used to define Brainrot. The next one is definitely Brainrot, and it is canon event. And this is very Brainrot. When people have a horrible event happen to them, people say canon event, like it's a cartoon, like it's not actually a thing that affects people. For example, I remember when Matejuss had his incident involving his dingy dongy, and people were just spamming I show meat, but lots of people were telling him that it's his canon event, and maybe it was true, but it is pretty cruel to say that to people sometimes. Cook, I would say it's barely Brainrot. I use cook a lot, and people definitely say cook for lots of dumb shit, but I personally use it and it's a good slang. It's not complete bullshit in every case, so I would say it's barely Brainrot. Detroit, it's somewhat of a Brainrot when people just say you can't have shit in Detroit, you can't have oxygen in Detroit or some shit like that, but it's still not overused. I think the main definition for Brainrot is something that is so overused that it becomes annoying and it rots your brain to the core. And Detroit used to be overused, but nowadays I don't think it is, and it's fairly stable now. It's still somewhat of a Brainrot though. Drip, I would say the same as Detroit. It was much more used back then, like people would call this drip or this. I think these are all Detroit and drip, these are all like terms from early 2020s, so they kind of stabilize now. In 2021, 2022, drip and Detroit, they were definitely Brainrot, but nowadays people use them less, and you will see the other terms here are definitely more Brainrot than these two words. EP, I never heard of this, so I'll put it in never heard. Then we have Phantom Tax. Phantom Tax is outrageous Brainrot. It makes no sense, it's dumb. It was invented by dumb useless streamers. It's plain dumb, literally Brainrot. It serves no sense as a word. Gyat is very Brainrot. I mean, it was a word before. It was used, I think, by African Americans in the USA, but once the white kids from New York got a hold of this word, it was over, especially with those Bonnie memes. Ick, it's pretty Brainrot. This is Brainrot that women use mostly. I haven't ever seen a man use the word ick. I will never understand females having an ick for some things that men do. You will see this all over Twitter. Bitches complaining about something that a man does being ick, and it's the most normal thing ever. So it's just dumb. Joe ever, I can't say I ever heard of this. I'll put it never heard. I never saw it being used anywhere, so I'm sorry. Mewing, it's Brainrot. The sad thing is, I remember in early 2023 when it was like a serious term. You mew and you improve your facial structure a bit, but when people started obsessing over it and making theories and making memes about it, and it got onto TikTok and into popular culture, that's when it was fucked, you know. I even used to mew. That's so fucking dumb to say now, but in early 2023 I saw it as something to maybe improve my facial structure a bit, and nowadays you say I mew, it's just a fucking joke, you know. So it's kind of sad, but that's what you get when TikTok kids get a hold of the word. NPC is very Brainrot, just the same as mew. Used to be something that people could normally say. It was not overused, and it was actually used for people who were actually NPCs in terms of not having their own thinking. But nowadays you do anything and you're labeled as an NPC, and the worst thing that came out of the word NPC is the NPC final boss. You get called that for anything, so it's a horrible word, and I will actually put it in outrageous Brainrot. It's there with Phantom Tax. Ohio is very Brainrot. I remember once I made a video including Ohio. This was way before the meme, and in that video I portrayed Ohio like a completely normal place. If I was making that video in 2024 or 2023, it would probably be something like this for Ohio. In terms of 6 months, I think this entire state got the reputation of being retarded. It got the reputation of Florida, basically, even worse than that. So it's very Brainrot. On God, I think it's a regular term. It's overused by some people, but it's not really a Brainrot. Op is outrageous Brainrot. Motherfuckers will call up anyone. If you have a different opinion by 1%, you're all of a sudden an op. If you have a different worldview, you're an op or whatever. People who use this word a lot are most likely people with main character syndrome. Like, no one is trying to be your fucking opponent. You're not really that important, so just fuck off. It's brain rot. Riz is very brain rot, and just like with Gyat, it used to be like an African American word. It just got picked up by white kids and posted all over TikTok, and now it's fucked, truly. Like, the more you learn about brain rot, you just realize TikTok is behind all of this. Riz is very brain rot, in my opinion. I actually gotta move it here. It's outrageous brain rot. Sigma, it's outrageous brain rot as well, and this is also sad. I remember in 2021, when the Sigma meme first started, I thought it was the funniest shit ever. It was like that for around 2 years, but somewhere there in the middle of 2023, the word became disgustingly overused, and overused by the wrong people. It's horrible now. It has a horrible reputation, so it's definitely outrageous brain rot. Simp, I think that's barely brain rot. It's not a regular term, but it's used in good limits. And there are a lot of serious simps around the internet, but sometimes you can literally just say anything positive about a woman and you will get called a simp. So that's a negative part about it, but I wouldn't really classify it as brain rot. And I know the word simp has been around since forever, so I think brain rot is more of things that started during this decade. So simp is barely brain rot. It's not a regular term, I think, that you can find in a dictionary, but it's still not horribly overused. I mean, it was. Nowadays, it's a little bit chill now with use of simp, so I would put it in barely brain rot. Skibbity, that's going straight to the top. There you go. Outrageous brain rot. This word serves no purpose. Just like phantom tax, these two words have absolutely no meaning. You put it in a sentence and it doesn't mean anything. That's the peak of brain rot. There should be a special category for skibbity and phantom text. These are two peak brain rot words that have no meaning on their own, and you already know the future 4-year-olds now are cooked because of these two words, especially because of skibbity toilet. Horrible. Slay, it's very brain rot. Whenever you hear slay queen or whatever like that, I think it's just a toxic thing that women say to other women of promoting bad behavior and just being a retard, you know. So slay is not a good word in my opinion. It's very brain rot. Woke, that's not a brain rot, that's a regular term, and I use it pretty often. I would say people who say woke term is a brain rot, they are actually brain rotters themselves. Womp womp is outrageous brain rot. People just say womp womp for anything. You can say your dog died and somebody will type womp womp and it will have like 5 times more likes than your comment. It's a horrible word and I hate it, and fuck you whoever uses womp womp. Yeet, this one is old school and it's a regular term. Actually, it's not a regular term, but it's barely brain rot. Yeet is old school and I like the word. It's nostalgic, so I'll put it in barely brain rot. So here's my final list. Let me know what you think. I think it's pretty good. Thank you for watching this skibbity phantom tax slaying video. Remember to mew, visit Ohio, have W Riz, and be a Sigma. Subscribe.